Jill St. John was one of Hollywood's foremost actresses and is also remembered as one of the most memorable Bond girls. So what is she up to today? Her acting career and legacy is certainly one to be discussed and remembered. Join Facts First to learn about Jill St. John's life and career and why she's sadly forced to use a wheelchair today. Jill Oppenheimer was born August 19, 1940 in LA. Her father was a noted restaurateur, and her mother was a housewife who later became Jill's stage mom. As a young girl, she took ballet classes, and it was during this time her mother changed her surname to St. John, which had an easier ring than Oppenheim. She became a skilled dancer and would eventually perform on stage, but her ultimate goal was to become an actress. She came of age during Hollywood's golden age and dreamt of becoming a star herself. At age 9, she appeared in a TV movie called A Christmas Carol. Prior to this, her acting experience was mostly limited to radio performances. She later appeared in the children's television show Sandy Dreams. This brought her more attention and led to more roles. She later appeared in episodes of shows like The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show, Sky King, Cavalcade of America, and more. She made her film debut in 1951 in the film Thunder in the East. Her first major role, however, came in 1958 when she was 18 in the film Summer Love. It was a musical comedy film in which she co-starred with John Saxon and Molly B. The film was a huge hit, and while it didn't exactly catapult Jill to stardom, it brought her more attention. She continued to work regularly in television, but also managed to snag a few supporting and lead roles in feature films. These included the remarkable Mr. Pennypacker, Holiday for Lovers, and The Lost World. Her big break came when she was cast in the film Come Blow Your Horn in 1963. She was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for this film and got plenty of offers after it. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Jill St. John's film and television career. Jill St. John loved working in comedy, and this was the focus of much of her career. She appeared in a slew of successful comedy hits in the 60s, including Who's Sleeping in My Bed, Who's Minding the Store, and Honeymoon Hotel. But audiences also took note of her beauty, and she later proclaimed she liked playing a sexy comedienne. Two of her biggest hits in the 60s were The Oscar and The Liquidator. She was also one of the first major actresses to appear in the 1960s action show Batman. She also appeared in the film Banning, which co-starred Robert Wagner, who later became her husband. But her biggest role was in 1971 when she appeared in the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever. She appeared as a Bond girl. In fact, she was the first American Bond girl and was a lot more abrasive and rough compared to the previous ones. She played Tiffany Case, a diamond smuggler, and this remains one of her most popular roles. It's also one of the most popular Bond girl roles of all time. The following year, she appeared in another dramatic crime film called Sitting Target. This was a British crime film that starred Oliver Reed and is hailed as one of her best films. She played Pat Lomart, the wife of Oliver Reed's character, who's in danger of being murdered by him after he finds out she's having an affair. This fantastic film showed she had great dramatic skills as well. Throughout the 1970s, she also worked extensively in TV, working in shows like Vegas, The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Magnum P.I. She also appeared in the films Rooster, The Concrete Jungle, Around the World in 80 Days, and The Trip. The latter film was made in 2002, and it wasn't until 2014 that she appeared on screen again, when she appeared in an episode of the show North Pole. It was her final acting credit, and she's since retired. Jill St. John is forced to use a wheelchair in her final days. Jill St. John has sadly had a tough life in the past decade. Due to her old age, she's often forced to use a wheelchair to get around. Life has also been tough for her husband Robert Wagner, now in his 90s and suffering from dementia. What's even more stressful is that the controversy surrounding Robert Wagner still haunts him and Jill to this day. When Jill was a child, one of her classmates in ballet class was Natalie Wood, who became a successful actress. Robert Wagner was married twice to Natalie Wood. They were first married from 1957 to 62, but got divorced. They later remarried in 72. Both of them had worked together in a few films. In 1981, Wagner was on a yacht with Natalie Wood and Christopher Walken. Walken and Wood were working on a film together called Brainstorm. At night, when everyone was asleep, Natalie Wood left her cabin. What happened after that is still a mystery. She was found dead on an inflatable boat near the yacht. She also had a lot of bruises on her body. It's speculated that either she committed suicide or was murdered, and Robert Wagner has long been a suspect. Nothing has been confirmed, and the case still gets discussed on occasion. And no doubt this stress has lingered on Robert Wagner and has affected his family, including Jill St. John, who became his third wife. Jill hasn't discussed the incident very much publicly, and one can only speculate how she feels. Jill St. John's great legacy. Jill has had a steady career since her childhood, and though it took her time to get her big break, she managed to persist. She's mostly remembered as being one of the most memorable Bond girls, but she's also carved out a great career in comedy films. She's been married to Robert Wagner since 1990 and has 3 stepdaughters. She's also had feuds with actress Lana Wood, Natalie Wood's sister, as she was once involved in a relationship with Sean Connery, who was romancing both women. Since Natalie Wood's death, there have been times when Jill St. John has been confronted by Lana Wood, who naturally wanted to know details about the fateful incident. Jill St. John sometimes has her personal life and these troubles overshadowing her career, but she has carved out a great career in both film and TV and has worked in comedy, action, crime, and drama. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you a fan of Jill St. John? Did you know about her health condition and why she's sadly forced to use a wheelchair now? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined FactsVerse as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of FactsVerse, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from FactsVerse or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.